morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's SoulSaint here, and we got upcoming quality of life features coming to the game for Raid. And I'm not going to lie, I am actually very happy about what we're going to be talking about today. And here's why. One of the things I talk about with my community all the time in regards to things related to Raid is that, like, this game is perfectly imperfect. I don't hold it to, like, anything higher than what it can be, or, if there's things that I've been exposed to in other games that I feel like would be a nice refresher for what we currently experience in Raid, I do voice my opinion about it. And one of the things I talked about was, like, transparency and giving us the bigger picture. I always say that, like, a lot of times we're left to speculate with, like, one piece of the puzzle when the whole puzzle hasn't been fully shown. And a lot of times with the full puzzle being shown, we get to enjoy and really appreciate what comes out. Well, in this particular set, I don't know if you guys see in the screen that we're looking at right now, they actually kind of broken down what they're planning to do for the foreseeable future. So we're actually going to discuss it today. So on the list, starting us off, it's going to be looking like, if we're going from left to right, it looks like we're going to have tavern improvements. So that, some quality of life changes, like they said, are really coming. Epic champion empowerment. Something I thought that they were never going to do because it may have some power creep implications compared to your legendary champions, which maybe not so much if we rationalize. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll break it down as much as we can. Artifact presets. This is actually something I've heard a lot of people talk about in relation to other games that we may have been exposed to. So I'm actually very curious to see how they approach it. Accessory filters, which is also kind of another W2 as well, because, like, like, for example, if I'm looking to build something specifically in a Supersonic or Merciless or Slayer or insert set bonus here, I need that so I can see it a little bit easier, because it's really hard to parse through all your gear when you have nothing but, like, a crap ton of rings and amulets and banners and all that. So that's a nice quality of life. I appreciate that. Artifact removal booster item. This is something I'm very curious about, because a lot of people are kind of getting to the point now where they would say that the game would be a lot more enjoyable if they could freely move their gear around without any repercussions. Like, the whole silver cost is something that's kind of, like, become a frowned upon experience. And there's some people who understand the justification behind it, some people who are rationalizing against it, and I wonder if this actually has some kind of, like, happy middle ground for us at the very least, or maybe in a direction that we weren't expecting yet again. Hydra class participation rewards. So just being active in Hydra now may have benefits on top of that. That's kind of cool. I'm down for it. We'll have to see. So, I actually have some information I'm going to be reading off to the side here, and I'm going to kind of break down my opinion on it, and we'll go from there. So, this is information that I've been given as a part of being an official content creator, so big salute to Plarium for giving me any type of info regarding this. So, I'm just going to read what they told us. So, they've been wanting to share some quality of life updates and like, roadmaps to kind of really give feedback about what we're going to be doing in the future. It was really anticipated by the community and are already planned to be released this year. So amongst the list of things that I talked about, starting with the tavern improvements, one of the things that's going to will become one of the first things to be implemented in the upcoming update. It will help to make the process of upgrading your champions quicker and more efficient. Here's how they're going to have it done. Champion filters. They're going to add some, and I believe we might even have some screenshots here for this. Champion filters are going to be added to the tavern. It will work similar to the one we have in the collection, apart from a few extras that will allow you to upgrade champions who are currently placed in either one of the vaults. Champion Ascension, I believe we also have something for that too as well, will become much quicker thanks to the slider that you'll be able to choose which Ascension level you'd want to do instead of having to constantly spam the button to go to the next level. A similar slider will also appear in the Upgrade Skills tab, and it will allow you to choose which skill tunes you want to use and how many you need at once. So we can finally say goodbye to manually tapping skill tunes to fill out the limited slots, then repeating it over and over again if that wasn't enough. Nice quality of life changes. I'm okay with this. That's cool. Let's see here. Let's see if we have anything else. Champion Ascension. That was the other one. Upgrading champion levels. Here's the extra one here. Will be easier as well with the instant upgrade button. So if you guys see it on the bottom right here of your screen, of the screen here, they have an instant upgrade button they're going to add that automatically populates with a selection of champions, I believe. And it says, to read their exact verbiage, by simply tapping the checkbox, your champion list will display nothing but common and uncommon rarity champions, which will be selected as potential sacrifices unless they are currently locked or used elsewhere. But no worries, you can manually remove specific champions if you need to, like if you want to spare our boy OG Death Knight is what the example they said. But this change will definitely make leveling up easier and most instantaneous in most cases. That's good. Another thing that will be improved will be, and might be the most complex one among the rest, is upgrading champion rank. The instant upgrade rank, I'm not sure if they have something here. They do. will allow you to automatically fill the rank upgrade requirements for one or even several champions using whatever resources you have available. Thus, you'll be able to rank up all your champions in just a few taps, considering you have enough food, of course. So, I'm going to take a quick moment and pause here and just kind of like rehash everything. I think all the other ones with like the sliders and all that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm perfectly okay with that. This rank up, however, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't played the game myself, but I heard that there was other games that have recently come out that have done a feature that's very similar to this, and I'm very excited to see it because it actually opens up the door for us to be able to work off of multiple champions at the same time, if I'm saying this correctly. So, the instant upgrade button will allow you to automatically fill up the rank upgrade requirements for one or even several champions. So there's going to be multiple. Using whatever resource you have available. So you could actually choose between the duplicate or similar ranked champions, or you could even do chickens if you have that. So that's kind of cool to see. And then you'll be able to do them in just a few taps instead of having to do each one individually, which was something that was kind of just tedious. It wasn't a problem to do per se, but it was something that it took an extra little bit of extra clicks because of the fact that you had to, rank up this one champion, leave it, open up another champion inside the tavern, and then do what you have to do with that champion at that point. And then you have to rinse and repeat that process multiple times. Whereas this one, it's like, all right, I want to upgrade all these champions. I'm going to use all this food. Boom, go. And it's basically like a better quality of life. So I like this. This is a good quality of life upgrade, which is kind of reminiscent of what they're saying. So a built-in filter will be added to allow you to set the priorities and limitations of each rank, like whether to prioritize chicken as rank up fodder for champions of rank 5, while setting rare champions as the preferred food. So you can set the tone by what you want to use, which is kind of cool. I like that. You can also go beyond and forbid the game to use champions with gear or upgraded skills as food, even if they match the criteria. I actually believe they have that filter set up in here for us to look at. So yeah, we could set it to sacrifice champions with gear, upgraded skills, tags, ascension. So we set the criteria by which they will apply these filters off of. So that's good. That's power to the player, which I'm actually very happy about. We expect these changes to make your experience a lot simpler and smoother when it comes to using the tavern. And we'll be sharing more info about the other improvements listed in the roadmap once the time comes. Let's go. I think that's pretty much kind of a little bit more of what we got to experience here. So here's how I feel about it so far. Tavern improvements, automatically a W. Artifact presets, which they really kind of didn't specify too much of, I think it's going to be based off of, sometimes we use champions for various different outlets in the game. So, I'll use Ninja, for example. In one area of content, let's think of how his usefulness was in Sand Devil 24. You need him in a sustain utility build, right? So, it's not so much having him crit capped and having the most damage output from him. It's more so, I need him to live through the battle of attrition. So, regen gear was something applicable, having high accuracy to land the debuffs, and then pretty much a decent speed to survive it, along with tanky stats. Whereas, maybe in Hydra, his role is damage dealer. You want him to put the punch in it. I'm using Ninja. I know that's the taboo thing to say, but I'm just giving you a visual, a representation of it. My understanding is maybe that they have it set that you have two different pre-established builds, and you can flip between them at the dime of a setting change that you could do on the champion to switch them over to one preset or whatever. Maybe each champion has up to 3 presets you can run. Something along those lines. I think that's very reminiscent of other games that have done something similar. If they do something like that for the game, I think that's healthy because there are a plethora of champions that are used in various different ways. There are sometimes ways that I have champions built up that I need them to be tailored for Sin City, or I need them to go back to their original function. And being able to move between that is a great experience. I don't know if you noticed, I skipped a particular blip that's going to happen before that, but we'll get back to that. The same thing is also true with accessory filters, which I'm pretty sure adds to us being able to rationalize and see through those things a little bit better. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I would love to see what they have to offer for artifact removal booster items. I think maybe instead of them just constantly throwing out one-and-done experiences, they could be doing how we have a monthly removal, free gear removal cost for Sin City. They may have a booster item that you may be able to acquire or probably even purchase, if we're being real, that you could probably use, and during that period you have a X amount of percentage off of your removals or your switchovers or whatever. If they set artifact presets to have some kind of cost, then maybe using that when you're having to switch quite often with artifact removal booster items could be a way to offset that cost, and that might be what they're trying to prepare people for Or it could just be just a flat percentage that they're just doing, period. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to get clarification for that as well. As for the Hydra class participation rewards, so there's two philosophies that I've subjected myself to, whereas you get what you put into the game, which is if you want to win artifacts and accessories, particularly accessories from Clash, you got to put the work in. You got to acquire better gear, improve your champions, invest into your area bonuses and whatnot. But even then, there are some realities where like players that are going against other players who are already pretty established. So like one of the biggest things about this game that's very difficult to manage without just straight up spending, and I'm just being transparent with you guys, is progression. You're limited by what your account has to offer. And it's not so much your capability. Like, you may understand what you need to do. If I only had that Terrace, if I only had that Grisor, if I only had that insert OP champion, you'd have a much more comparable fighting ground, right? And I feel like maybe this is where the Hydra class participation rewards is like, even in lieu of you maybe failing to beat the enemy clan that you're going against in Clash, you still get something that can help you along the way to maybe close that gap. I'm trying to view it as that, but I also know that like some people have vocalized their disdain or their lack of care for something like Hydra in general as a content area. And maybe this is like a way to placate that portion of the audience. And I'm very curious, and I would caution that anybody, don't take this as me being like rude or like attacking or like this, but we have to be careful with like just giving stuff is cool, but there has to be within reason, right? And I think that like it's good in the sense that you have to be observant of like, there are some people that just have better champions than I do. I mean, like even in my own clan, for some, I can give a nod to a lot of them. But, I work with and I do the best that I can with what I got. And it's disheartening whenever you're going against other clans and they just have the answer, the meta, like the Trunda of Trunda cheeses, you know what I mean? And it's like, how do you beat that unless you have it yourself? And even then, you may find yourself with complications along the way because you just lack in the resources that the other account was invigorated with, right? So, even despite that, like, not all your efforts, even after trying, are fully lost, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. As long as it's within reason, because I don't want it to diminish the hard work I've done to get to where I'm at in the game. As long as I don't feel like that, I'm good with participation rewards. If I feel like it takes away from my efforts and it makes me feel as if, like, what's the point of even trying in that? Then I feel like that's not a healthy thing for the game, right? So, depending on how they approach it and what they give, we need more information, as always. I don't want to be too over-assumptuous. Depending on how they handle it, I think that could be a very interesting way that they approach Hydra Clash, which could be another way, too. We could look at it from a positive perspective. Let's try to look at it from the full spectrum of things. Could be a way to get people excited about doing Clash. Maybe they start to see the value behind it, and then that allows them to start injecting more resources in that direction, which ultimately breeds a more healthier environment, right? Activity is the thing that helps this game drive itself to a better place, for lack of better words. Within reason, obviously. But that's where I'll digress. I feel like Hydra Clash participation is going to be something I would like to hear more information about before I give more scrutiny to my opinion about it. So I'm cautiously optimistic is what I'm going to say about that. With that being said, Epic Champion Empowerment is an interesting one. This one could be a bit of a game changer. So I'm actually going to go ahead and switch back into the game for a second here. I was doing a little bit of Dragon's Lair in the background since we're in the middle of an event, and I don't mind a little bit extra free silver. That's fine. Empowerment is interesting. Now, depending on how they handle it, and I'm assuming that they're going to follow a very similar rhetoric where the amount of empowerment you get is going to be proportional to each range or level that you can go to. And I'm assuming it's going to cap at level 4, or since it's an epic level champion or epic rarity champion, there may be a limitation where instead of getting 4, you only get like 3 to help offset the power creep potential that a particular champion could have over legendaries. Because I don't think that like Plarium or Raid in general wants to create an issue where like epics are better than legendaries or legendaries are better than mythics. I think we've been going in this steady trajectory that the higher the rarity, the better the value, right? So there may be some limitations, but they should follow a similar premise where you get an X percentage amount of increase to their overall base stats. Now, with that being said, just hypothetically speaking, if they use like a level range of level 4 and it's the exact same amount, which is 10% per level across like just how you see on the screen right now, that is very good. A lot of the backbone of this game when it comes to being able to complete content, truthfully, actually does come from like not mythics, but epics. Legendaries or even mythics for that matter are a elevated quality of life to make it not only easier but faster and more efficient, right? I can beat I'll use my dragon team as an example here. So most of my champions on this list are legendary, right? But you could take out Lydia and plug and play your equivalent Deacon or Stag Knight, for example. You could take out Stultus, who is like the main guy that transfers debuffs to the boss. You know, he's basically the boss killer of this team. You could put in that Dark Hail, for example, who also puts poisons and explodes them, and you can get your value that way, right? You can technically do that. So like epics aren't like bad in any stretch of the means. You'll find them laced throughout a lot of content. Giving them the means to be even more potent just opens up more options for players to be able to do stuff. So I find that to be a very, very big W. I mean, just think about it this way. I have time and time again talked about like how Seer is not going to be a champion that I'm going to build a duplicate version of. It's very far and few and rare that I'm ever going to do something like that. Well, with the extra Seers I may now have access to, let's see how many I got. I got at least one there. Let's see. I got another 3 there. I can plus 3 now, for example. And now the one champion that I have has potency. And that could be a really great way to allow people to cover up some deficiencies they may have. So I view that nothing but a W. And there are some epics that are like God tier that I'm just going to go ahead and put on, like Geomancer, who to me, and we all talk about it, is a S tier epic who is a legendary in disguise. Making them even more improved is like another way to just make him more robust. So the epics that are really good are going to be even better. They're going to stay good, you know? The epics that are good are going to stay good. But what if the champions that weren't that great because they just lacked in some output or they lacked in some stats, now they have those? What does that do for the game? That's the question I'm going to leave you guys with. I hope you guys don't mind taking a little peek into my insights about this one. I am really, really excited to see what they're going to bring to the table with this whole quality of life feature update. You guys let me know. Do you guys feel like any of these updates are good qualities or bad qualities? I'm actually open to hearing your feedback. As well as, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for the Epic Champion Empowerment? I'm actually, myself, yes. I think it's a W. I think overall, this entire roadmap of what they're planning is going to be a big W. Now, I think I'm going to preface this. They kind of announced it when I talked about the breakdown. You're going to see it across the board. Not all in one go. They're going to do it in implementation phases, so have patience. It's going to come, but it's going to take its time. And, you know, play them. They take their time sometimes. It'll come. Just be patient. But with that being said, let me know in the comments below. What are you guys planning on doing with this information? You guys planning on preparing all your champions to be empowered? I think I might. Are you guys already preparing for some presets? I think I might. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and always remember, stay ascended.
Got the